Alright everybody, how's it going? Quancredible here, and oh my gosh, did you guys read this chapter? Biggest plot twist 2019, already calling it. So I'm gonna just go into the review because there's a lot to talk about here. So at the very beginning of the chapter, we kind of get like what's going on from Lyra's perspective, which is actually really neat to see. Turns out Lyra actually knew the entire time that it wasn't the Wizard King that had essentially killed all of the elves. But he actually never said anything, and he went along with all these plans, I guess, to bring the elves back just so he could see Lich again. Which honestly to me is like super messed up. This like but just the fact that he knew what actually went down and he still went along with all of this just to see the Lich again is that's whack to me. Lyra is not my favorite person for that move. But then after that, after we get that little flashback into Raia's backstory, or after we get that little peek, and then after that, Lonnie or Ronnie kind of just starts to, for lack of a better word, monologue. I mean, I'm not really for sure if when he's talking about when he says he made use of the connections from the Magic Knights, I'm not sure if he means he used them or if he worked with them, or like it's still a little unclear. Maybe when the official adaptation comes out, we might have some more information, or maybe in a future chapter. But for right now, it's just a little confusing as to what he actually meant. But anyway, after that, he takes Yuno's pendant, and then out of the stone tablet, a freaking demon comes out of it, and one thing to note is that Yuno says it has a dark, dusky, cold magic, which right off the bat, right there, it shows that this demon, if Yuno can sense him, has magic, which means that he doesn't have anti-magic, which means I'm not for sure what the connection would be between this demon and, say, Asta's demon. Then after that, this demon is fully out. Uh, Partry is sitting there. He looks shook. Yuno is sitting there. He's also equally shook. And then he also reveals that he was the one that actually tricked the humans into attacking the elves, which essentially means that the elves kind of did all of this for no reason. Like they were after the wrong people, which really sucks, honestly. This is like mind blown, honestly. Like mind blown. Like the elves were tricked as well as the humans were. Like, man. And then, like after this, in a fit of rage, Partry tries to attack, except the demon is able to like send it back to him, to which Yuno does save him. Like Yuno notes he still has his captain's body, so he still wants to protect his captain. I guess Yuno believes that William isn't a bad guy, and essentially, I guess he really isn't, honestly, because I feel like the elves were justified in their thinking. You know that they thought that the humans killed them all in cold blood, but seeing as that was false, I guess everyone is more or less kind of justified in their actions. So then Yuno attempts to attack the demon from behind with his spirit storm. However, the demon stops it, and he notes that he has reality altering word magic, which, aside from being a bit of a mouthful, may be the most OP magic next to like Vanessa's fate magic. And honestly, it's right up there with it. Like with reality altering word magic, you can essentially do almost anything you want. Now, I'm sure that there has to be some kind of limitations on what he can and cannot do, but we're going to have to wait into the future to see this. Now, also notes that there's no way that he could beat him by himself, to which Asta pops in right in the nick of time. So Asta, Mimosa, and Partry are all together in the room with the demon, and that's how the chapter ends. So the next thing would be, what are some takeaways from this? Like, oh my gosh, predictions. So so I have a crazy theory that I thought of when I was reading this. The demon that came out of here has this cold, dark, dusky magic, and he tricked the elves. So right there, we know that he has magic. And so he has magic, and he doesn't appear to have any visual similarities to the, I guess, giant demon that we've seen in the opener. However, I have a weird theory of what if the demon in Asta's grimoire is actually the real Lich, and he was turned into a demon by this guy when he backstabbed everybody, which is why Asta has sword magic, and then just the anti-magic just might have been a mutation on top of that. That's one theory that I do have that I got when I was reading this. But another thing that I have, I guess, small concern or question about is what happens to all of the fights that were matched up at this point. Like, is there even a point in anybody still fighting? I mean, I guess that the elves currently don't know anything about it. Like all the ones that are still out there, like the elven version of Charlotte, or I guess Vetto or Fauna. Like, I guess they technically don't know what's going on in this other room. So will we still get to see these fights, or will everybody just kind of come together towards the end and realize what's going on and fight this guy together? All in all, I guess man, I have no idea. I have no idea where this is going from here. I guess if I had to make a prediction, I think that this fight will be so massive it'll interrupt some of the other fights going on right at this moment, and then they'll all kind of band together to help fight the demon. But of course, in the end, it'll be Asta and to take it down. But yeah, I'm definitely super hyped to see Elf and Asta work together to take this guy on. Also, one thing I want to note, has literally been in his spirit dive like this entire time. Like can hold his transformation like for 30 years longer than Asta can even think about holding his. That's another thing I just wanted to throw out there. But anyway, 10 out of 10 chapter for me. Plot twist of the century. Tabata coming in, bringing in the hotness. So also, we're not on break. We got another chapter coming next week, so I'm super pumped for it, and I'll catch you guys next week when that new chapter comes out.